Year's Eve extravaganza, sharing your favorite Bruce songs and memories with E Street Radio's Jim Rotolo.
We are a half hour away from saying goodbye to 2020 and welcoming 2021. This is Open All Night. I'm Jim Rotolo. 2020 and welcoming 2021. This is Open All Night. I'm Jim Rotolo. Hello, E Street Nation, and Happy New Year. And all right, hold on a second. I have a technical thing I have to do here. I have to switch microphones because I have to jump on a Zoom call right now. So let me go do that quick and stay with me. Here we go. Bruce Springsteen, welcome back to E Street Radio. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Well, 2020, it's almost over, thank God. It's been a hell of a year.
I don't know what to say about it. I've got no comments.
Well, despite the global pandemic, you did keep yourself pretty busy. You had several performances, a new album, 16 radio shows on E Street Radio. I mean, you kept busy for the year.
Well, you know, when March hit, I think everybody was sitting around wondering, what can I do? And I said, well, how can I stay in contact with my audience? You know, so the idea of the radio show came up, and the circumstances where there was something specific to address through the summer of 2020 was as tumultuous a summer as I can remember since around 1968. So there was a lot going on. You had the pandemic, you had the Black Lives Matter movement, you had the resistance against President Trump. There was a lot in the air, as much as I can remember since I was a young man. So there were a lot of things to push back on and to address. And, I said, well, the radio's a good spot for me to go right now and try to do this with the music that I've loved, you know. And so that was just the natural gestation of the radio show. And I just started off sort of with music that asked the questions that I was puzzling about myself at that moment, and it's gone on, and I've enjoyed it very much. It's been a pleasurable experience, the radio show.
Yeah, well, the fans have really enjoyed it, and it's really been, since you started doing them, it's just been really comforting to listen to you talk about the things that we've all been thinking, and picking some amazing music, turning people onto some songs and artists that I don't think many people have heard of before.
Yeah, I try to do a little bit of that, and I try to learn myself, you know. So it's kept me busy when I'm not doing the show, just sort of cataloging music that I might want to play and that I haven't heard, or, need to hear, wanted to get into, but never took the time. So it re-involved me with music itself, both current and past. And so that's been an enjoyable side benefit of the shows for me. You know, it really got me back into a lot of great music that's out there, you know, and it's been a great thing, a great time.
Yeah. Well, we've all had to make adjustments throughout this year due to the pandemic. One of the things I guess, which is an adjustment for you, was you had to you did take part in playing in a concert with the Dropkick Murphys from a remote location. That had to be an interesting thing.
Well, the few things that we were able to pull off, all I can say is all of them were done with great difficulty. There was nothing. If you tried to do anything this year, it was really hard. and so go back to the concert with the Murphys, you know, and figuring that out, how that was going to work, how I was going to appear, with them as they were playing was a tricky thing to sort through. But it was, I love that band, and it was a lot of fun doing, you know. And then just the bottom line, it goes simply all the interviews I did for the record and the shows, you know, everything was different. It was simple as that. I've been doing this for 40, let me see, I don't know, 48 years or something. And everything was different this year than it had ever been any year before. And so you just had to get used to it, and you had to adapt. And we were lucky that we cut the album and shot the film literally a month or two before the pandemic hit. So we had that under our belt.
Right.
And we were able to finish it without too much difficulty, with some, but not too much difficulty. So that was really, we lucked out there, and that we got that big batch of work done just before the pandemic hit. And but even playing Saturday Night Live was quite challenging. You know, it was a lot of testing, a lot of everybody was incredibly careful on that to play on that show under those conditions. You know, it was all testing. You know, it ended up being a wonderful thing. And I said, you know, well, we've gave fans a record this year. We gave fans a film this year. The only thing we haven't done is let them see the band playing live anywhere. And so when SNL came up, you know, it was like, yeah, that's what we ought to do. And they assured us they had precautions that had been working for them, that where everyone would be safe. Mm-hmm. And it would take a certain amount of dedication and you know, but it was worth it in the end. We had a great night there, and I felt like, yeah, fans got a chance to see the band play some of the new music live.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. That had to be like everything else that's happened this year, it had to be a rather strange experience taking part in all of that. But how did it feel? Did everything sort of go away once you and the band were up on stage and playing those new songs, you know, live?
Yeah, it all goes away the minute you count the band in. You know, then you're just involved in the moment and in the thrill and the fun of playing your new music. You know, it's just always transcendent, and so we got a chance to do it several times that day. You know, you do a dress rehearsal show, and then you do the real show, and but to hear the band gear up behind me and come on full force on a small stage like that was very exciting.
Yeah, I can imagine. So was there much rehearsal time or at all just prior? Was there the dress rehearsal and that was it?
We rehearsed one day here in the studio for a few hours in the afternoon. There's only 2 songs. And then we rehearsed a Thursday sound check rehearsal at Saturday Night Live. Friday, there was nothing. Saturday, you go in and you do a sound check, a dress rehearsal, and the show.
Wow. That's amazing because it's a big band to have all those people involved, you know?
Well, the interesting thing was we were only allowed to have 8 people on stage. So we couldn't have the whole band.
Right.
You know? And so, you know, we had to decide, okay, on this song, you're going to play and you're going to sit out. And then you'll switch for the next song. And Jake, you'll sit out. And Charlie will play the organ because we really need the organ on this song. We really need the sax on this one. And, you know, we had to figure out how to do that. You know, there was just COVID precautions and there were COVID restrictions. And so we had to sort out, you know, how that was going to work.
Wow. You released the album in October, Letter to You. People just really identified with that record almost immediately, especially with everything that happened this year. A lot of people have lost family members,
Yeah.
friends, coworkers. So it was really. It was really just talk about timing being everything. It really came at the perfect time, I think, for people, and they really took to it right away. So I just, on behalf of myself and the fans, I wanted to thank you for putting that out this year because it really helped us out.
I appreciate that. It was a gift for all of us because having something to do and then having the band in the studio and just us getting to record the music alone was a great treasure. And I get a chance to get together with Gary and Steve and Charlie and Roy and Max and to have all those people who have been the closest people to me in my life, to have them with me here in the studio for 4 or 5 days was just a gift for me, and then everything else, all the other small performances and things that we were able to do were just small blessings over the course of a very difficult year.
Yeah. So I feel ridiculous asking this question because I know you don't have the answer to this, but what does 2021 bring? I mean, you can't really predict anything right now. You can't really do anything under the
Well, according to the people that I know who should know, they say that it'll take till fall for a large percentage of the country and the world to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
And that somewhat normal conditions, perhaps even conditions where you will be allowed to perform again, should return somewhere in, let's say, a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's I don't know if, I mean, it could happen quicker, but I don't know if you're going to be seeing a lot of large scale playing sooner than a year from now. So that kind of takes 2021 out of it, and people are going to be spending another year doing things in different ways and finding different things to do as best as they can. 2022, if you want to talk about that.
Sure.
that to me, as far as what I know, and if things go as according to what a Dr. Fauci or is projecting, we're as soon as we can, we'll be out there, and that might be 2022. Somewhere in the new year of 2022. So, and I'm completely projecting because no one really knows, but that's what I think. According to all the information that's available at this moment, will be able to happen. I have some projects coming up this year that I won't tell because it's going to be a secret and then a big surprise. But I do have things to keep me busy this year that I'll be doing that should give the fans something to bide their time with,
Well, we can't wait for that, and we can't wait for 2021 to come finally and say goodbye to this just terrible year. But there's been some bright spots in it, and that's been you and your music and your radio shows here on East Street Radio, the new album and the performances. So once again, on behalf of all the fans, thank you for doing all that you've done for this past year.
Well, I had a great time. I want to thank all the fans. I want to thank all the guys and the girls in my band. It was just a great, as hard as it was for us, and we were the very lucky ones, very lucky ones. I have to thank everybody for their commitment and just for the times we had together, and I gotta send my prayers and blessings out to all of those who lost loved ones and went through much, much harder times than anything that we saw, So Patty and I and the whole East Street, all of the folks over here on East Street, send our blessings and prayers out to those who lost a family member or lost a friend. And we wish for a better year coming up this year.
Amen to that. Happy New Year, Bruce. Thank you so much for spending some time on East Street Radio.
Yeah. Happy New Year to all.